Hey, what's going on, boils and ghouls? I'm Chain Smoking Mike. Smoking one of my favorite American cigarettes, Lucky Strikes. But it's not what. Today is not a smoking review. Today, I want to talk about something that I saw on the internet regarding my home country, America. There's a state called Colorado, right? And recently they decided to completely censor a man that I deeply respect, a man named Donald Trump. Apparently, they decided to censor Mr. Trump's name on the presidential ballot for next year. And if you ask me, I am extremely pissed off. For one, what they're doing is extremely illegal. And for two, this particular practice is trademark fascism. If you don't know what I mean, read Mein Kampf, and you'll understand how fascism works. The Democratic Party will do anything to keep their power, even if it means doing very illegal things. Apparently, on the Democratic platform, they're doing this under the so-called disguise of a clause in the 14th Amendment. Apparently, this amendment claims that any person who previously worked in the government and have displayed so-called insurrection, separatism, anything like that, are unable to hold office. Now, regarding this whole craziness that's going on, I remember the so-called insurrection on January 6, 2021, I believe. Correct me if I'm wrong. I think it was in 2021. But I think it might have been in 2020. Anyway, it doesn't matter. It was on January 6th. So, from my memory, and from what I've seen, this was a protest against an unconstitutional takeover of power. Because, do you really expect, say, 80, 70 million of people to vote for some senile nincompoop like Biden? Because I don't see that. If you are a astute, astute follower, that's the word, of the political scene in the United States, Joe Biden is an absolute idiot. He can't even use a coherent sentence, and any form of critical thinking is completely gone. If Joe Biden really gave a damn about his country and cared about democracy, he would cut off any funding to this Reefer Madness of a state called Colorado. That is the appropriate thing he should do. Sure, he might be a Democrat. That doesn't matter. If he cared about democracy, he would cut off any federal funding until they got their act together. That is what a true Democrat or a true patriot should do regarding this issue. And I will not stand by and just keep mum about it. Sure, I might be living in this beautiful country called Russia, but deep down, I also care about where I came from, in America. America does have its perks, don't get me wrong. But again, over time, I'm just growing extremely jaded and disillusioned with the so-called democratic vision of America, because the more I analyze what's going on in the United States, the more I see it becoming a dystopian hellhole. And God forbid, if the Democrats have their way, there's going to be plenty of Americans, and I mean a lot of Americans, probably more than half, that will not put up with this. And those particular Americans, they know how to kill. They know how to shoot. They know how to clean their guns. They're the kind of guys that if you fuck with them, they will fuck with you all day, every day. And I'm going to tell you, if what do you call it? If what happens according to the way that these evil Democrats plan, how they want to preserve their power in however way they can, then it's going to be a major shit show. It's going to be even more extreme than what the American Civil War happened. And, it's just going to be extremely extreme, for lack of better words. And my biggest fear is if the Democrats do have their way, what's going to happen once Election Day hits? That's my biggest fear. Are the Democrats going to do everything they can to preserve their power? Or will they use common sense and step aside and let the Republicans carry the torch for, say, 4 to 8 years? Like a reasonable Democrat should be able to concede. But as any sensible American knows, the polarization is off the charts. There is no middle ground. There's no commonality. And this is dangerous. The more the more disconnect between the left, the liberals, and then the right, the conservatives, the more disconnect there is, the more problems are going to emerge. And this is something that I fear will spell the doom for the United States of America. And that is something that shakes me to my core. Because who knows, I might want to go back to America, be it for business or to take care of some family stuff. Other than that, don't expect me to ever come back to the United States. Ever. America, as far as I know, is completely dead to me. That's why I'm in the process of obtaining citizenship in Russia. And then once I get the citizenship, I'm seriously debating, and I'm seriously debating on this, on eventually investing money to pay, and this is sick, to pay for renouncing my citizenship from the United States as my final middle finger to all the fuckery and all the manipulation that this country, that country does to its people. Because unlike most other countries, believe it or not, if you are an American and work in a foreign country, did you know that you still have to file taxes to the American government? Yeah, this is an actual fact. Look it up. And to me, this is absolutely sick and twisted way of the American government to make money. And for me to just stand by and let this happen to me, to my life, is unacceptable. And that is why I am, again, deeply considering eventually renouncing my citizenship and complete ties to the United States. Sure, I may still have a passport from this country, but again, once I become a citizenship of Russia, of my true motherland, I plan to completely say "Do svidaniya, pizda" to America, because from my understanding and from what I've seen, it's complete madness over there. Literally, Reefer Madness. and don't get me wrong, if you do take marijuana, I'm not dissing on this habit. You do you. This is your life. That's your problem. But there's always consequences to every lifestyle choice, right? That's why I'm saying Reefer Madness. And it's a great film if you ever have the time to watch it. Reefer Madness. It's from the 1930s. It's basically a anti marijuana smoking film. And sure, it might have some dated pretenses, but there's an element of truth to it. I'll tell you why. A lot of my best friends, growing up as a teenager, they used to chain smoke this drug, marijuana. And over time, I observed their once critical thinking skills completely dead, completely destroyed, almost like dementia. And over time, my best friends used to be pretty interesting people. But over time, after chain smoking this particular drug, they became just brain dead idiots, worse than Joe Biden. And it broke my heart. I honestly loved these people. And to see them completely brain dead broke my heart. And I had to drop them like a hot potato. I still regret having to drop them. They were some of my best friends. I ain't going to mention their name to respect their privacy, but they were pretty decent people. They helped keep my sanity in a time that was quite dark. But I had to move on. I had to not let them drag me down into their struggle and misery. So that's why I had to do what I had to do. Did it hurt? You bet your ass it hurt. But part of growing up, again, is to create new friend groups and sometimes be that lone wolf. Anyway, I just wanted to share you guys what I think about this whole situation happening in the United States. My suggestion, if you are a similar-minded person like myself that deeply loves Donald Trump, mind your P's and Q's. Be careful, especially if you're in an environment where there is a lot of people of the opposite spectrum. Keep mum about it and just quietly voice your dissent. Because my biggest fear is if you are a loudmouth, like me, I'm a loudmouth, okay? It will spell your destruction. There's a good saying. Let me find it. Aha, here it is. The saying goes like this: a moment of patience in a moment of anger saves from a lifetime of regret. There, that's it. Follow this saying to the heart, because again, if you react with just pure anger, it will only spell your own destruction. And that is my biggest advice for any fellow Trumper out there, because they have us by the throat. These liberal lunatics, these pro-transvestite, pro-LGBT scum. Don't let them hold you by the noose. Rip that thing apart and stab them in the throat. Sure, that might be a little too aggressive, but defend yourself if you have to. Defend your honor and make sure that you stand by what you believe in, just like the Confederates did. And sure, the Confederates may be controversial, but I will die on the hill on the fact that they had the gumption to stand up against tyranny. Anyway, that's all for today. Again, be careful. Stand up for what you believe in. And if you have to, die on the hill that you believe in with all of your conviction and heart. And remember, don't let anyone bully you in terms of your honor. Because in Russia, if anyone bullies us, we will fight you until we are all dead. Just like the Nazis tried to do back in World War II. They tried to destroy us and all of our identity and culture. And look what happened to them. We pushed them back all the way to Berlin, Germany, and crushed them. And that is what the conservatives may have to do if the liberal hive mind have their way. Anyway, I'm Chain Smoking Mike, signing off. You just watched a very serious discussion on what is happening in America, especially with the crime that's been committed in Colorado. Stay tuned for more videos. And if you have any advice, questions, or anything of that nature, feel free to comment down below. Rock and roll and stay true to yourself. I'm Chain Smoking Mike, signing off.